Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
Raise the rudders! Raise the sails! Raise the sails!
Captain, an unidentified ship is approaching. Over.
Roger. Wait, is that an enterprise sales solution?
Reach sales professionals, not professional sailors. With LinkedIn ads, you can target the right people by industry, job title, and more. Start converting your B2B audience today. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started today at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there is one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contrast. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
We may live over 5,000 miles from Lincoln Financial Field, but what we lack in proximity we make up for in film study, and each and every week we'll be bringing you in-depth film breakdowns from across the pond and the Sooner State. Welcome to On the Shane Page. I am your host, Shane Haff. You can follow me on Twitter at ShaneHaffNFL, and I'm joined by BGN's own film guru, Jonny Page. Give him a follow on Twitter at JohnnyPage9. Johnny, I don't know if you noticed this, but we already have 18 comments on YouTube, which is amazing. It feels good to give that intro about in-depth film study and it actually be true this week. But how are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, if anyone was watching, they may have seen me start to laugh. It's because I saw this little 19 button pop up and I was like, we haven't gone live yet, and I forgot that we said we'd be half past. So yeah, sorry gents, I'm a tiny bit under the weather, so hopefully my voice holds out. I've got my lemon tea ready to go in true style. Back to season. Of course, you get ill straight away. So yeah, I know I'm good. This was a really interesting game to break down. I'm going to put like a little. What's the word? What's the word you say something at the start? Asterisk or whatever? Disclaimer, that's it. I think there are certain things that are going to annoy us quite a bit today, and there are certain things that we're really high on. And I think it's just like worth reiterating. It is week 1. Teams can look totally different by the end of the season. Players won't change, and the scheme will relatively be the same, but it can be a completely different thing. I guess, like, what's our job is to break down what we saw. So just because we say something may not be good doesn't mean we think it's going to be bad all year. It doesn't mean this will be the scheme all year. Last year, week 1, Vic Fangio was running spot drop cover 3. And by the end of the year, we looked nothing like that on defense. So I guess our job is to break down week 1, and that's what we'll do. But just because we're saying things, it doesn't mean that's going to be right. That's it. If they're doing the same things in 4 weeks, then yeah, we might have a bit of a different conversation about certain things. But I enjoyed it immensely. To give you an idea, Shane, of how I experienced this game, So, being from the UK, obviously, and with a little man, I got up at 5 a.m. after being woken up at 1 and 3 and desperately avoiding my phone not to check the score, which is quite an impressive talent. I've literally locked my phone, internet off, other room, like, don't even think about it. But when you're up at 1 o'clock, you're like, I could just stay up now, but no. So I get up at 5 a.m., I roll downstairs, like, coffee, sit there, right, half asleep, turn it on. Very first thing I watch is Ben Van Zoomen on the floor, and I'm like, great. Because I must admit, I'm half fast-forwarding special teams because I'm used to kickoffs being boring. And then Ben Van Zoomen's down, I'm like, what is going on? So I'm already a bit miserable, so I'm fast-forwarding a little bit. And then I see the refs come out, and I'm like, what's he doing? And I haven't listened to any of the commentary. I don't know what's going on. And I just hear, Jalen Carter's been ejected. And I'm like, sorry, what is? It's like 2 minutes past 5. I've just watched Ben Van Zoomen clearly do something bad to his knee, and Jalen Carter's been kicked out of the game. I was like, can I go back to bed? So I just give up. Is that it? It was one of the worst 5 minutes to the start of the season. God knows what it was like experiencing it live online. There must have been absolute meltdown. Yeah. Absolute meltdown, because watching it at 5 a.m. was just utterly bizarre. I was like, am I dreaming? Am I awake? It was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen. I feel we're not going to talk about him today. I feel so bad for Ben Van Zoomen. Yeah. Like, professional athletes are paid well, and what can you say? He'll be taken care of this year. But to train all year and put so much of your body through something, and then just the first play,
and working back, I feel for him so much because he's been like a career special teamer. He carves out a role as a fullback last year and has a season-ending injury, works back from that, and first snap of the game.
And I really think he had a role. Like, from a selfish point of view, I think he had a role this year, and I think he knew he had a role. And that must be so cool for someone at UDFA, linebacker turned fullback, which never got to see what he can do as a fullback. It's what would have been a really weird story, a linebacker to fullback. Like, it would have been a big, and I feel like the NFL has no idea. We know as Eagles fans how interesting that storyline could be, because that's what sports are, they're storylines, and we just didn't get to experience it. And I hope we do one year. I'm gutted for him. But yeah, what can you say? It's part of pro sports. People get injured. I guess you have to move on. And the Eagles did not adapt this week. Let's put it that way. So they're going to have to adapt. They're going to have to adapt moving forward.
By the Eagles' scheme, the rest of the game, Ben Van Zoomen might have been the most important player on the offense. I don't know. So the Eagles lost their most important offensive and defensive player before the first snap of the game.
Yeah.
And I say that mostly in jest about the offense, but
yeah.
I want to shout out a comment or two here before we get in. J-Rock says, nothing like getting a timely start to the new season. You guys know that, well, I'm going to throw Jonny under the bus. You guys know that Johnny's always going to be 10 minutes late to the
This was more than 10, yeah.
Just adjust your clocks accordingly. It'll be fine. Krabby says, don't worry, we started without you. We'll catch you up, which our Patreon community is awesome. These guys were doing the show before the show in the chat, so just a plug, come check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ontheshane page. If you enjoy this show, you'll love the content that we have there as well. But Jonny, let's dive into this, because we both said, let's make this an hour 10 if we can.
Yeah, yep.
And I already know that that's not going to happen, but it's a good goal to have anyways. So
yeah,
let's dive in. And
shall we mention how we do this, Shane, for new listeners? If there are people out there, hopefully, that found us this year.
Yeah, so this show, we are going to be putting film clips up on the screen. And so, obviously, we love for you to download and listen to the podcast, because that's part of the monetization, and the YouTube's not really monetized. However, this may best be viewed in video format. But if you want to listen to it on an audio platform, Jonny posts his film threads and calls out the play numbers that we're talking about. I post a specific film show thread with my 6 clip compilations, and so you can sort of follow those on your phone if you're listening on audio. You can watch it on YouTube if you would rather do that. I will say the audio is sometimes not the best on YouTube, because Riverside won't let me mix audio live, and I can make the audio a lot better on the podcast platform. And so, of course, the best of both worlds is the Patreon, which gets the upgraded audio with the video completely ad-free as well. So you can choose to watch the show however you want. But for those of you that are new, if you're like, what does it mean when Jonny says play number 3? Well, it's on his Twitter, and you can you can pull that up as kind of a companion as you go along.
Yep. And also, one of the things we do on Patreon as well is that, and we're very honest about this, you can't cover everything as NFL guy. Like, you just can't. You can't watch every single player. So What we do is we have other things on there where we can basically specialise. So we maybe don't hit the pass game in full every week because Shane does a pass game review on Patreon where he hits every single snap that Jalen Hurts takes or whoever the quarterback is that week. So, yeah, we will obviously cover the quarterback in this week. But if you want every single snap, the All-22 with Shane's analysis and other things that we've got going on there, it all goes on there. Final thing, we don't cover everything, so we maybe do it a little bit differently. We don't talk through the whole game. We choose things that have interested us from that week. So let's go to Adam's comment. We need a sponsor. YouTube pays next to nothing. Yeah, we don't do it for YouTube money. If you want to support the show, Patreon is the way. That's basically our goal this year is to grow that as much as we can. So if you enjoy it, you like what we're doing, please try and support us. So we choose 3 things we're going to watch, basically. We will obviously waffle about other things, but there's no way you can cover all 11 players every week. So should we begin with offense this week, Shane?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, too, our basic goal is to have this podcast always available for free. But almost everything else we do is going to be behind Patreon. And so this is the free version. That's not going to go away. But we do a lot more stuff. A player spotlight that I'll mention later. My past game reviews, some preview stuff that will be in Patreon. So if you like this, consider coming checking that out as well. You can grab a free 1-week trial of any membership tier. So with that said, let's hop in, Jonny, and let's start. You want to start on offense?
Yeah, let's start on offense. I think that has more. Actually, I don't know if it has more to talking points. Everything was interesting this week. It was a really cool game to watch, actually. So do you want to start us off? Well, it makes sense, doesn't it, with the early design being good, seeing as that's your first point, so...
Yeah, so I think it makes sense. My first point is the early design, specifically the opening drive, and so I'll kick us off here. And I just thought of this, but I'm not sure if my pointer shows up. It does not. Okay, that's great. So I will just have to talk through it. I can't actually draw on the screen in Riverside right now. But
wow, I love it. You got a mouse, though. You got a mouse. We can see the mouse, the magic mouse.
Okay. Yeah, it's making me share a window, and I have to be able to share the whole screen to get my drawing to show up. So anyways... You can look at my cursor, but I just liked what the Eagles did from an early design standpoint. The first play I'll mention here is a pistol play-action toss right. And if you watch the left guard, which is Landon Dickerson, he pulls, and the way that influences the linebacker, and it just gets Goddard a step, but that's a really easy first throw of the game for Jalen Hurts. And you can sort of see from the back view how it manipulates the linebackers. And so watch the linebacker here and just the step he takes keying on this guard. And that's all it takes. And that's an easy throw. It's a nice way to start the game. It gets you in rhythm. And so I liked that. Then we get an under center play action bootleg. And we're going to get like an out route from Devontae Smith. And you're going to get like a deep corner route from Dallas Goedert. And then you get the crosser from A.J. Brown. Now, this kind of gets blown up because of edge penetration that Hurts is rolling into. And so he has to tuck this and run it. But if this pressure's not there and he's able to bootleg this out, you can sort of look and see that A.J. Brown would be running into a void of the field here and be open. Now, I would like for Goddard's route to be more vertical to drive this safety off some more, but you can see that with just few little tweaks here in the execution of this, both with Goddard's route and sealing that edge, this would be a potential explosive play and an easy one, an easy throw. As it is, Hurts is still able to, he's already running, he's able to tuck it and scramble for nearly a first down. And so there's nice options built into that play. I really liked that. We can watch from the back view here and sort of see it from Jalen's point of view here as he turns around, and you can see what he's looking at as he scrambles. But it's just that pressure there. But no matter, he can tuck and run. Then you get to one of my favorite designs of the game. The Eagles go under center. This is heavy personnel. I think it's 13 personnel on the right side of the field, all condensed in a bunch. And then they toss it to the left with a pulling guard to the right, too. So they really sell this misdirection. Toss it to Saquon Barkley, and he's going to take this for 16 yards. This is pretty much the only from heavy personnel that worked, and more on that in my next point. But I really liked this, the way that you get all 3 tight ends on the right. You pull Landon Dickerson to the right. Everything's going right except the ball. And so I thought that was a nice little design. And then the final one I'll talk about is down near the end of the first drive. It's a little spin on the screen game. And so Will Shipley's in the game here. They motion Devontae Smith across the formation. And so you're changing the look on the defense, but you notice nobody moves with him really. Right? There's not a lot of movement here. And so you've just generated a numbers advantage, and now you swing the ball out to Shipley, and you've got 3 guys to block 2 to get to the second level. And I just wanted to draw attention to Jahan Dotson. Watch the block he throws here. Boom, puts that guy on the ground. So you have 3 guys effectively blocking 4 guys downfield in the screen game. And so I really liked what they came out with. I'm going to get negative later, but I really liked the opening script, and so I'm hopeful that's something the Eagles can build on going forward.
Yeah, I was about as excited as anyone on the first drive when they ran the first play, and then I saw when I saw the pulling guard, and I was like, oh my god, I think we're cooking this year. I was like, Kellen Moore was a problem. And yeah, then it got a little bit ropey. I'll start positive as well. It's a new season. Let's start positive. I think, Shane, this was probably the cleanest game I've seen from Jalen Hurts, maybe ever. And I know Super Bowl was obviously more explosive. I thought he was basically perfect in what he was asked to do. It's really funny yesterday. I had like an epiphany watching with the NFL Red Zone, and you're seeing players like obviously Lamar and Josh Allen, in my opinion, are in a world of their own at the moment. I think even maybe more so than Mahomes and Burrow. I think there's almost like a tier 1B or whatever you want to call it at the moment. But you see a lot of people like Purdy making like 3 or 4 like throws. You're like, I saw Stafford make 2 yesterday, and you're like, oh my word, like I haven't seen Hurts make a throw like that in a while. But then I also see so many bad interceptions. There are so many poor plays, and Hurts just doesn't give them to you. Like, the lack of turnovers over the past, 15 or 16 games are astounding. I wanted to talk, it's a bit of a niche point, but I'm going to get a bit negative later on, so I thought I'd say positive. I'm going to start with, actually, let's start with positive, which was scrambling. You've already shown one clip, so I won't repeat the same clip. If you start with play 4 on my film thread, scrambling is a really weird thing. Just in general, if you pause it pre-snap as well, Shane. Scrambling's almost like negative. Some people see it as a negative. They're like, but if you don't throw a touchdown, it's not the same if you run it, because they could stop you in the future. And you're like, yeah, well, they could also stop you throwing it. Like, it's a bit of a niche detail on who cares how you score. But for some reason, QBs are more valued when they throw for touchdowns. And I want to make this very clear, because Hurts had 14 carries in this game and was a big part of the run game. But weirdly, only scrambling. He had basically no part of the run game at all outside of scrambling, which is something I have a huge issue with. But he barely took a shot. He could run this much every single week and be fully sustainably healthy. Like, he did not take hits in this game. He was so good at getting down. You turn on Red Zone and Daniel Jones is getting blown up after 5 minutes into the season. And Hurts did not take hits like that. I imagine Matushka are probably the biggest hits he took. He wanted to throw. This was not a quarterback that was one read and out. This was not look for a slant, no slant, scramble. He was desperate to throw in this game. The design just didn't let him. And it was almost like, well, screw it, I'll do it by myself. So this was the first touchdown, and you can see how much he wants to throw. He's trying to hit Devontae Smith on an out. Devontae Smith's not open, and it's a very good decision not to throw it, because the cornerback undercuts it brilliantly, and the Cowboys were all over these out routes, and we might get into some disagreement with Kurt Warner later on, which is always good fun. But after watching the film, Shane, I'm actually Team Shane. I don't like the outs they ran from condensed formations in this game, because the Cowboys were all over them. Nearly every snap they ran them. They could not seem to get that out going. And then he comes back to Barkley on the left on an angle, and that's not open. My second point is going to be about how Hurts processed things this week. He got from left to right quicker than I've ever seen before. He got through his reads quicker than I've ever seen him before. He is really quickly eliminating what's not there here. I will say, I think the Cowboys were utterly hopeless at containing him, so he got a bit lucky. And I think if the Cowboys weren't that bad at containing him, this performance could have been rough for a passing game, because there wasn't much he could do. If you roll this clip through, I've only got a couple to show of him scrambling, because I'm sure many people could remember the runs he had. But just look at how he is trying to throw. He starts opening up to the right, no way open. Look how quickly, Shane, he eliminates that. And then there's no one there, and he scores easily. If you look at how quickly Hurts moves off that right-hand side and gets back, he doesn't turn his head. He's all synced up. He's ready to throw. Head, arm, same position. He's ready to throw to his left. He's eliminated that right-hand side almost instantly. No wasted movement, no skittishness. There's just nothing there. And he eventually ends up scrambling. And again, that is one man doing it by himself, basically. The second touchdown was the same thing. But before we do that, I'll show you play 6. This was the best run in the game on 3rd and 5. Let's not go into design just yet, because I'll talk about it later on. But I have a real issue with spacing in this game. Far too often, there are players, in my opinion, that were too close together. If you look where Smith and, Calcaterra end up.
Yeah.
But that's a ridiculous run on 3rd and 5. Hurts has a weird movement style, because big and like strong. He doesn't move like Lamar does, who's just a freak. And I think sometimes he doesn't get as much credit as he should. Like, this is a excellent run. This move here, like, that's so effortless. He moves really well, and I do wonder how injured he was last year, Shane, because I don't think he's moved this well nearly all of last year. And final one I'll show, there were others as well, is play 7. This is the second touchdown. Once again, he's trying to throw. He actually opens up by going to Barkley on, I don't know what the route is. It's like a stop. I'm guessing it's an option of some sort. Barkley just doesn't run it very well. This was the Eagles' favorite
route on the day. It was run directly to a linebacker and stop.
I'll be honest, Barkley's passing game stuff wasn't good this week. Maybe that's a topic for another day on Patreon, but there was a few problems I had of his passing. Blocks seemed to go wrong around him, and I thought he had a couple of routes that were quite average, which is weird for him. But this, again, he wants to throw. He opens up to his right. He takes a little bit longer to eliminate this one, but I think I can understand why, because he's waiting to see what Barkley does. But the second he realises Barkley's not going anywhere, look how much space there is in the middle. If Barkley can fake right and go left, that's what I think he should have done. But he's almost being like bracketed in the end. I think Hurts is hoping. I don't think he should make that throw. And then again, it's just really, really good QB play. And it's the QB essentially bailing out the offense for not having a lot. And when we do our ranking, Shade, and people talk about guys like Jared Goff and stuff, and the reason why I've always been pro mobile quarterbacks these days is you basically just, you're cooking with gas, aren't you? It's a cheat code. When things don't work, you can extend plays. And I think we'll talk about Hurts throwing later on, but from a rushing point of view, I think he was as strong as personally he's looked in a long time, because he didn't have many runs from the running game. It was all extending plays. And yeah, he looked really calm. He looked really good doing it. So fingers crossed this year he's fully healthy. So my first point was on how effective he was as a scrambling quarterback.
All right. My second point is titled "Why Heavy Personnel Sucks."
Oh God, should we just do a negative now? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
So I'm not even going to break these plays down. I'm just going to play them in the backfield, and you can enjoy 44 seconds of the Eagles getting stuffed in the run game while I just give you a stat. So this will be a really quick point, but Saquon Barkley had 14 carries for 30 yards out of 12 or 13 personnel. Now, I showed you the 16-yard misdirect toss on the first set of plays. Outside of that, where the heavy personnel was used as a decoy and they ran the other way, he had 13 carries for 14 yards with heavy personnel. So running behind heavy personnel, 13 carries for 14 yards. Running out of 11 personnel, he only had 4 carries for 30 yards. So you tell me what the heck we're doing here. You have a tight end 2 that cannot block, and a tight end 3 that's not much better. And then later in the game, you have a backup left guard in the game, and you just continue to get heavy and try to run right down the middle through the teeth of the defense into stacked boxes, not taking shots outside. Like, you watch other teams and what they did this weekend. Like, you watch the Bears get heavy on the goal line, or the Lions get heavy on the goal line and then run a play fake. And in the Bears case, it was a Fields bootleg for a touchdown. In the Lions case, it's an easy flip out for Jared Goff. Like, the Eagles just got heavy and ran behind bad blockers into stacked boxes. So get heavy to run misdirection, get heavy to run play action, get heavy and throw your shots outside the numbers. But to me, if you're heavy, you do that to take your shots downfield, and you go spread to run up the middle. And I'll talk about that more in my next point, because I want to talk about empty. Oh, sorry, not the Bears. The Jets. Justin Fields is a bear in my head. The Jets is who I was talking about there. Or maybe I just had a premonition, and we'll see if Caleb Williams does the same thing tonight. If so, we're going to clip this and throw it up there. And I'll talk about empty and how the Eagles utilize that on my next point. But the Eagles' game plan offensively outside of the first drive really was awful, and a lot of it had to do with heavy personnel and condensing splits.
Yeah, let's just call a spade a spade. I don't know if that's a British phrase as well. Is it not?
We do have playing words in the United States.
I don't like to criticize coaches very often. We always say that. They know what they're doing. They got this horribly wrong. And I've never felt so confident, Shane, about a point in my life that I know they got it wrong. I don't think there's any, I don't even think you can argue it. Like, I am 99.9% convinced they've gone back into the meeting room this week and gone, what the hell happened in the second half? And I'm including Stoutland in that. I mean, you can just throw Patullo under the bus. Like, the run game was atrocious. I've also got some stats as well. The whole point, Shane, of the heavy personnel, as we said, is you take the shots. Well, the shot to Dotson was from 11 personnel, from shotgun, and they didn't have, like, anything else where they took shots from heavy personnel. It wasn't
that
just...
was the only pass of the entire game. It was
madness.
over 8 air yards.
Madness. But let's forget personnel as well. I'm talking not just run game, like, also under centre pistol. I'll count that as well. So, pistol, they threw the ball once, Shane. First play of the game. After that, they ran it 11 times. From pistol. Like, the defense knows what's coming. You're not setting something up later on in the game. You're just continuously doing the same. Under center, 12 runs and 2 passes. Shotgun, 6 runs and 30 passes. Basically, if the Eagles are in shotgun, they throw. If they're under center or pistol, they ran. And as Jacko says, adding extra blockers, well, I want to go into this. It doesn't. So number one, Shane proved with numbers basically guaranteed that it didn't work. So again, I'm very confident it was a fact. They were better from 11 personnel in the run game, significantly better. And I got a great tweet from somebody at Tej, Tehjizza, and he was basically showing the numbers from last year as well. And the Eagles were better from 11 personnel last year as well. EPA per rush was 0.25 from 11 personnel, 0.09 from 12 personnel, and negative 0.04 from 13 personnel. So numbers last year, better from 11. Numbers in this game, better from 11. I will never, ever pick on individuals because it is not their fault, but Grant Calcaterra was utterly abysmal as a run blocker in this game. It was. I felt sorry for him because they were lining up in 12. What happens when you line up in 12, especially because the Cowboys were matching with such heavy fronts? He was getting defensive ends and defensive tackles consistently. I mean, when the guy got a linebacker, it didn't work, let alone taking defensive ends. It was almost like it was malpractice. It was really poor. And if the Eagles had lost this game, I would probably be even more mad because it was so blatantly obvious. Eric called it on the post-game show, like, you guys nailed it then. Watching it back was utterly absurd. Like, I could have clipped 7 plays of Grant Calcaterra getting blown up and the guy that blew him up tackling Barkley. If you're going to run like that, you have to take shots later on because they got what they wanted. The Cowboys stacked the box. Like that tweet that Jeff McClain put out about the Cowboys stacking the box more than Barkley's ever faced. Like, although Jeff's right to tweet that, it's a useful statistic. Stacking the box is very rarely a player thing. You don't stack the box because you're facing Barkley or because you're facing Henry. You stack the box based on personnel. So that is not a Barkley tweet. That is not a run game tweet. They stacked the box that significantly because the Eagles were consistently in heavy personnel. It was really weird, I'll be honest. And if you don't have a tweet I'm on about, I probably should reference it, shouldn't I? McClain mentioned he had 66% of his snaps or his attempts. He had a stacked box, 8+. That was 3 times more than the rate Barkley faced last year, which was 20%, and the highest rate he's faced ever. As Yakos just commented now, the only thing I can think of is that they came in with a fullback under centre and basically Ben Van Suren's injury just wrecked them. So I will give them a pass. They won the game. They beat the Cowboys. They survived. But there is no way they can win with that run game all year. Like, if it will physically not work. Calcaterra has been an incredibly bad blocker for a number of years. It is utterly laughable that he is your tight end too if that is how you're going to play. And it's completely unfair on him as well because all he's doing is blocking defensive ends and defensive tackles. A lot of people didn't mention this, but there were actually snaps as well that Calcaterra was tight end 1 and Goddard was off, whether that's an injury thing or a health thing, and they were still running at him. And I was like, this is madness. Like, genuinely madness. And J-Rock with a good comment about that Barkley stat being mad because the Giants had nothing. But that's what I mean. It's not about him. It could have been Will Shipley, and I think it would have been the same. It was the way the offense was playing. They were like, well, we may as well just stack the box. I think their coaches probably realised A.J. Brown wasn't running and the Eagles weren't throwing it. It was genuinely like one of the worst run game performances I've ever seen. And guys know I'm obsessed with run game. I thought it was utterly ridiculous. If you're going to play like that, you have to take shots. If you don't take shots, don't play like that. And again, I'm not overreacting. Every bit of data from last year, from this game, says it was predictable and it wasn't successful.
We got a comment here from GGN saying there's no way Ben Van Sumeren.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Plan.
Yeah.
That's my joke from earlier about the Eagles lost their most important offensive player before the first snap, because it was bizarre.
If you want to go like mental, like big brain, you can say that, they were doing it to put tape out there because they were going to win anyway, easy win, and the Chiefs are watching it, and I think that's all absolute nonsense. You win the game in front of you. You don't worry about your tendencies. You don't call tendency breakers in week 1. You run your offense.
Sitting there, watch you run the ball 13 times for 14 yards out of 13 personnel, going, "Oh, we better figure out how to stop this." Here's my question, Johnny. Legitimate question.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, first of all, let's start with how many catches did Grant Calcaterra have last year? It wasn't very many, right? It was like, I don't know. I should have prepped this beforehand, but I just thought of it while you were talking.
20 catches or something, I'd guess.
Last year, he had 24 receptions, and some of that was in a stretch where he was tight end 1 because Goddard was out. So, tight end 2, not getting targeted much in this offense, right?
No.
If you want to go like jumbo personnel, why don't you just put Drew Kendall on the field at tight end and let him go block?
Yeah,
and
Fred Johnson.
The 3 times a game you want him on a route, which translates into 1 time a season you throw him the football. Surely he could catch a football wide open in the flat. It would not hurt the pass game, but would tremendously help the run game. Like, put Drew Kendall, put Fred Johnson out there if you want to get heavy. Don't put a guy that can't block.
Grant Calcaterra had 0 catches. I don't believe he had a target. And he played 37 snaps. He played 59% of the snaps. I don't want to be a Super Bowl winning to repeat with Grant Calcaterra running 59% of the snaps. Like, Dotson's on 46%. Like, come on. Dotson having 29 snaps, when from all things considered he's meant to have played well. He played well in the game. He had the Eagles' best play of the game, and he blocked really hard. Like, I don't know. You've got John Mechie out there with 1 snap, who I think is a useful play. Like, go bigger. As you mentioned, go 11 personnel. If you really want to go 4 wide, like, if you're desperate to go heavy, just go heavy. Play Fred Johnson. Like, or as you mentioned, maybe even Kendall. I mean, I'd go Johnson probably, but I really, really don't know what to say because there was nothing good about it. And the Eagles got away with a win, and they probably got lucky with how they structured their run game and heavy personnel. And we should stop moaning about it because I could spend hours talking about how bad it was. I recalled about 20 clips. I mean, I delete them down to like 15. It deleted 5 plays of Grant Calcaterra getting blown up in the run game because I was like, I can't post anymore. I've posted enough. The guy's blocking defensive tackles and defensive ends. He just can't do it. Like, he's never been able to do it. We've said it all off-season. It's not his game. It's not his fault. None of this is a shot at Grant Calcaterra. If I was him, I'd be speaking... I know he wouldn't be getting anywhere, a better deal elsewhere, I guess, but I'd be speaking to my agent going, what's going on here? Like, this is not going to be good for my potential career earnings because I'm not getting signed next year out by anyone else if this is the film I'm putting out there. I genuinely felt bad for him. Like, it was rough. But let's move on because the heavy stuff we could do forever.
Yeah,
couldn't we?
We're now 31 minutes.
Oh my God, we're 31 minutes.
Spend 30 minutes on the offense, and
Christ.
we're only halfway through. So
right.
What's your second point, John?
Yeah, seeing as we're moaning, let's just stay moaning for a second. To be honest, my second point was design, and I've already hit run game design. So I'll just hit pass game design very briefly from a negative point of view, then I'll finish with a positive. There wasn't enough downfield shots at all, and I'm going to put a disclaimer out there. Start with play 5, if you don't mind, Shane. This is a big disclaimer that I just want the listeners, if you haven't seen this tweet, to watch AJ Brown. And long story short, AJ Brown is running a go route against a corner, 1-on-1, and I think I have as much chance of catching that ball as he does on that play. So either he's told before that play, don't risk your hamstring, we are never, ever going to throw you the ball, or he does not trust his body. I'm not going to say the whole effort thing. I'm not going to kill him for that because, in my opinion, he clearly wasn't right, Shane. If you watch this game, you think AJ Brown was the worst receiver in the league. Obviously, he's not. So when I'm talking about pass game design, we'll just add on the fact that their best receiver couldn't run. But I just thought some of the spacing was really, really poor. I've already showed you a couple of the poor spacing. Then there was a few others. And I'll do play 12. Let's go to play 12. Just because it's one example of how design was weird. There was just a lot of confusion as well. I felt spacing-wise, they were all over the place as well, and I'll show you 2 examples here. But this was the one where the cornerback blitz, the Cowboys basically realised that Barkley and the Eagles couldn't handle cornerback blitzes. Barkley's reaction there suggests maybe it's a hot route, maybe Hurst is meant to go to him, but that's really hard to flick it to Barkley when you're under pressure from a blitzing cornerback. I'm guessing Barkley screws up or the protection screws up. And the reason why I'll blame Barkley is because it happened twice with him on the field. where cornerbacks blitzed and he got called out. But I
the
saw
other
someone
one was the very next play.
Yeah, exactly. The Cowboys basically just realised if you pause it like the middle of the play, I did see someone tweet saying Devontae Smith's wide open, and I'm like, progressions. He's reading the middle of the field here, so the out route doesn't count because essentially he's not looking there. He's going to the middle. This happened quite a lot when you're trying to high-low a linebacker. Like, you need to have a significant distance of, 7 to 10 yards at least. If they were 3 and 4 yards away, Shannon, and this was common, you got 2 receivers being double covered by a single linebacker. The spacing was off quite routinely, and I'm just hoping that's an early season thing. Sirianni hammers on about fundamentals all the time and about the details mattering. They're the details. They're the details that matter, and they weren't really great. It wasn't all bad. The spacing wasn't a killer, but I think I'll get my final moan out of the way. Some of the spacing was a little off as well. I love the comments of people telling me what JT O'Sullivan said, because I deliberately don't watch JT O'Sullivan these days when it comes to Eagles game. But if I am saying similar things, I guess that's nice. Although it's always good to disagree at times. I have things I was positive about, but yeah, I'm glad he said that because I thought I was going mad with quite a few of the plays. J-Rock with a good comment about preseason. I absolutely think the lack of preseason probably has a part to play in how bad some teams will look week 1. I think absolutely.
And I also absolutely wouldn't change anything about that.
Exactly. You got the win, you get out of there. Right, let's move on to your third point, Shane, because we need to get onto the defense because there's a lot of stuff to talk about there.
All right, my third point is just talking about empty. Everybody that's watched me for a while knows that I love empty. I think empty is the best formation in the NFL. And there's 4 instances I'm going to show of the Eagles doing it. The first one here, the Eagles motion into empty, and they did this a lot, but the Cowboys are showing 2 high safeties, and I want you to watch what the safeties do after this motion. Watch number 6 right here at the top of the screen. He starts walking down. Why does that happen? Well, now all of a sudden that we're empty, we've got to be really concerned. Like, it's stretched the defense out horizontally. We've got to be concerned about it emptying out the box and Jalen Hurts running the football, which, spoiler alert, last play of the game, Jalen Hurts runs out of empty to seal the game. And so the safety tips his rotation early. This is why empty is so awesome. It forces the defense to show you, 1, where the pressure is coming from, if there's pressure, and 2, it forces you to declare your coverage early. As soon as this safety walks down, Jalen knows this is going to be single high safety. I've got Devontae Smith on a linebacker running an out-breaking route. Like, right now, the ball has not been snapped. Jalen Hurts knows 110% that Devontae Smith will be open, and that's who I'm throwing the football to. We snap the ball, swings right to Devontae Smith, puts the ball on him, first down. Love it. Absolutely love empty. They should be running it more, in my opinion. Now this one, it's a 3rd and 2. They empty out again. This one is a really easy throw to Saquon for a conversion. And again, like, the Cowboys are 4 over 3. You can't really see the 4th guy up here, but they've got 4 over 3 at the top of the screen. But Devontae Smith's going to kind of come on this deep curl route. It pulls this corner off, and you get the easy little flip out to Saquon for the first down. Now, he does almost sail it. It's not the best throw. Nice catch by Saquon. But again, how often are you going to get the flat that wide open on 3rd and 2? It shouldn't happen. It does here. The next time here, near the end of the game, they go 4-by-1. A.J. Brown's at the top of the screen here, and they're going to try to get this to A.J. Brown on a slant route. And it doesn't work. But watch what the Cowboys do. They've got a guy lined up pressing A.J. Brown. They've got a safety over the top, and they've got a linebacker that opens up and bails this way. Look at that. They are playing 3-over-1 on A.J. Brown, which is wild considering A.J. Brown has 0 targets at this point in the 4th quarter. And so now on the other side of the field, you're playing 4-on-4, right? And they sort of just run all curls, which I hate. We run these little curls, but we get this corner route. And the corner route puts this cornerback in conflict. And legitimately, like, in my opinion, Hurts is reading this out from A.J. Brown, who's the 1. And then you're reading these curls, presumably from right to left. You're not just going to skip all the way to Saquon. I legitimately think this is Hurts' 4th read on the play. And look how quickly he gets there, by the way. We're talking about reading the field well. 1, 2, 3, 4, balls out. So he gets to his 4th read all the way across the field, and you get 8 yards. And that's because of empty. It's forcing the defense to do things they don't want to do. And then, of course, the 3rd and 3 to end the game, you motion Barkley out again. This time, remember the first time I said they send this safety down into the box. They don't do it this time. They stay too high. And predictably, Hurts is going to scramble for the first down here because now you're in the light box. And I hate the route concepts. 2 slants at the bottom, 3 curls from the top. That's a terrible concept, but it works. And it works because of the spread, the stress it puts on the defense. And you can see from the backside, like, how are the Cowboys meant to defend this with 2 high safeties? You've got 4 defensive linemen, right? And you've got 1 linebacker in the box. So you've got 5 in the box, but there are 6 potential gaps that Jalen Hurts can run to. You're not gapped out. You're down 1 in the box. Something's always going to be open. Like, there's no chance you can cover all of these. And so as soon as this defensive tackle goes outside, Hurts just tucks it and runs. Nice little cut up field. Gets down, doesn't take a hit. Game over. Build the whole plane out of empty. I absolutely love empty. If you have a mobile quarterback, there is no better formation in the NFL.
A mobile quarterback who can process things early quickly, because it does have to be done instantly. I think that's the thing about empty. It's got to be quick. It has to be done early. You actually stole my clip, Shane. How dare you? The throw to Barkley in the flat is... My third point is processing. I've already mentioned it briefly. I think Hurts processed this game about as well as any game I've seen him processed. That doesn't make sense. Any game I've seen is processing as about as quick as I've seen it. So that one to Barkley, that was a full field read. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, and he had to read the flat corner. This is another one. You got another example here where, again, it's not his first read. 3rd and 2, he is eliminating what is there quickly.
I went to the wrong play.
They're actually both good. They're actually both good plays. Literally both good examples. This is probably my favourite one. He gets his body lined up. And what I really like about this, Shane, is just before he throws it, he's still got to read that flat corner. So he's reading now, then he reads the middle, and I watched this quite a lot, and I think, did he miss Goddard? And I'm going to be really nasty here because people are going to think this is mean on the coaches. I think, again, this is little details. I think, and this is me guessing, I think Goddard's route is too quick. And I think by the time Hurts actually comes off A.J. Brown, by the time he's actually set, I think Goddard's just about gone. I almost think Goddard needs to, like, delay it or run it. The timing's just ever so slightly off, and he basically has to go to his 3rd straight away. Well, not even 3rd, because 3rd's covered. So now he has to watch the corner. And if the corner jumps on Barkley, he might be able to hit the crossing route, but if he doesn't, he can hit Barkley, and he doesn't really wait. The second that corner takes a step back, bang, ball's out. I think his processing was as good as I've ever seen it, and I've said for a while that I wouldn't doubt Jalen Hurts' progression because his progression has been outrageously good. If we can get a bit more like full field read Hurts, if we can get a bit more like reading right and going back to left, not saying I love it all the time, it's not saying how I build the offense ideally, but we got more of this than I've ever seen. He was not 1-2 run, he was not half game run. They're really trying to put more on his plate, and I think he handled it really well. And I'll show you one play, Shane, very quickly that I really liked. This might be me galaxy braining it a little bit. So actually, no, sorry, we've got to do the deep shot first as well from a processing point of view, because we just can't. We can't not show the deep shot. So play 8 on my film thread first, just in case some of the listeners haven't seen this. This is the kind of thing I'm surprised they didn't do more. By the way, 11 personnel. They run double post cross, basically a perfect quarters killer, because you know the safety inside is going to take the first post, so then you know you've got Dotson. Look how early this ball comes out, Shane. Just pulls it when he throws it, let alone making a decision. He's made a decision now. The ball comes out, it's not even, like, that is an absolutely outrageous throw. For those watching, you couldn't hand it to him better, and that is the details. That's hash mark, throw it, timing, that's practice, that is perfection.
Like, he is at the 38-yard line outside the numbers when Hurts lets go of the football.
And that's a really good sign.
He catches it on the other 36 inside the hashes.
Yeah, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a big brain, galaxy brain, that could be totally wrong point. Play at 9. So I hated this play, and I could probably do like 10 minutes on how many times the Eagles ran this stupid play that didn't work. But the Eagles ran this like, I don't know, it was quite often mirrored. It was like a short in and a deep out. Sometimes it was crash, sometimes it was smash. And basically, it didn't work like once because the Cowboys were just sitting in zone coverage and all the out routes were coming from the slot, as we've mentioned, and condensed wise, the Cowboys seem to cover them every time. But I'm going to galaxy brain this, right? They ran this play twice, and Kurt Warner actually made me think about this because he tweeted you, a double Kurt Warner reference on the show. when basically what happens here, if you pause it after the snap, Shane, now I'm going to actually say this is on where I disagree with Kurt. Kurt was saying that Hurts should open up to the other side because that's the free receiver side for whatever reason. And I don't know how much the film of Kurt watched, so he may have only seen the clips that you put out there. Every time the Eagles ran this, Hurts opened away from the back. Every single time, including this. So I'm inclined to believe that that's how he's coached to do it. I highly doubt he's turning wrong every single time they ran this play. But I think, basically, the first 2 times they ran this play, if he had immediately just dumped it off to Barkley post-snap, when he realises he's got the completion. And what I love about this play, and I am galaxy braining this, is I have a very strong suspicion, I'd love to be a beat reporter to ask Hurts in a press conference. So if anyone's listening, please ask him. I would love to know if he sat on the sideline and watched the 2 plays earlier on when Barkley was open and then came back to it here and was like, right, I'm going to process this quicker because this is perfect. 1 to 2 check down. He doesn't bother reading the other side because sometimes you haven't got time, as we've mentioned with mirrored concepts. So I'm galaxy braining it a bit. I think it might be a good example of in-game progression that Hurts is showing where he's willing to listen to coaches and willing to change. But yeah, just from a broader point of view, I think he processed things really quickly in this game. He didn't force a single throw. There were times when he could have forced it, and if he had forced it, there would have been interception chances, and I think if he gets picked once or twice, we lose this game. So I think the way he played, the way he processed, the way he didn't turn it over was extremely, extremely high level. Possibly the best I've seen from him.
Yeah, there was a comment that I was trying to find. GGN said earlier, in his last 16 games, Hurts is 15-1. With 38 touchdowns versus 4 turnovers.
It's mental, isn't it? It's even yesterday I was watching the Bucks and the announcers casually said Baker Mayfield led the league in interceptions last year. I'm like, people still rank him above Hurts as well. Like, the guy just wins, doesn't turn the ball over. Like, what more do you want to do? I don't know. He's not, as I said, he's not Josh Allen Lamar. They do things that Hurts can't dream of outside of structure. Like, he's never going to be that freaky guy. But he wins because he's so good at not turning it over. And I think this game was as high level as I've seen. I was really impressed by the generic QB get through reads stuff. Yeah.
I will mention on him, I would like to see them change those mirrored concepts and either coach him to open to the running back flare side, or if you're constantly going to open away from it, have the running back run like an angle route, or just have him sit over the ball in the middle of the field, because it is often just too late by the time you get to him. So that's just a minor thing. But
right, let's move on.
All right, that's going to do it for the offensive portion of this podcast. Now we're going to continue this video for the live viewers, but for the defense, we are going to be posting the podcast separately, just they're a little more digestible. So this basically ends part 1 over the offense. Part 2 here coming up next. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling, and every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And this one is specifically for new customers who can bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus over $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code PINPULL. That's code PINPULL to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That is 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Fees may apply in Illinois, void in Ontario. Bonus bet expires 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Life gets easier with great assists, and State Farm is here to dish one your way. Get in touch over the phone or on the app to get the teammate you need. State Farm with the assist. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability and eligibility vary by state.
As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Membership means more with American Express Business Gold. Earn 4 times membership rewards points in your top 2 eligible spending categories every month, including eligible U.S. advertising purchases and select media, and U.S. purchases at restaurants, including takeout and delivery. What are you waiting for? Get the card that flexes with your spending every month. Terms and points cap apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-gold. Amex Business Gold Card. Built for business by American Express.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.